Okay, for number 3, they have a rectangular box with a square base. So I've drawn that, and it has to have a volume of 640 feet cubed. And they want to know, there's different prices. They want to know the minimum cost of it constructed. And so first you say, okay, well, minimum cost of constructed means we have to deal with the surface area, right? And so I've made a little equation about what the surface area would be. If I make the sides of the box X on the bottom and the height H, then the surface area, it's $15 for the bottom, so that would be the bottom. Let me use yellow. There's the bottom. And then here's the top. It's $10 times X squared. And then the 4 sides, so you have 4 times $10 at X times H. Well, we can't have 2 variables, so we go back up to what they gave us, volume. And we know volume is the area of the base times the height, which is X squared times H, the way I've drawn it. So H is V over X squared. So I can rewrite that using H as V over X squared and simplify it to 25X squared plus 25,600. Okay, over X. So we want to minimize, so when we minimize, we take the derivative and set it equal to 0. So the derivative of this would be 50x squared, 50x, and I don't want to get this confused, 50x minus 25,600 over x squared. And we set that equal to 0. And let's get common denominators. That would be multiply the first one by x squared. So we get 50x cubed equals 25,600. So if you divide that by 50, you get 512. So x cubed is 512, which is the cube root of 8. So x is equal to 8. Now, to just double check that it's a minimum, we would test our points. Now, this is a rational function. This is a rational function, so you kind of just have to, you can't use end behavior. So if I go, if I go to 0, can't do it, right? It's undefined past 0. So let's say 1. That would be 50 minus 25,600. So this is definitely negative, and this is positive. So that means you definitely have a minimum at x equals 8. Now, what is it? You always go back and say, what does it ask for? It says, what's the minimum cost of the constructed box? So I have to figure out the sides. So you would go back up here to the surface area. I guess your simplified surface area would be the fastest way to do it. So 25 times 8 squared plus 25,600 over 8. And you should get $4,800. $4,800. Okay, so I think this is 1,600 when I did it out, and this was 3,200. Okay, so $4,800 would be the minimum cost to make the box. All right, let's go on to number 4. Okay, number 4 is a classic problem. A lot of times it's cardboard, but this time they say they have a square piece of tin, all right, and they want to make a box with it, like by folding it up and cutting out the corners. So they're going to cut out these 4 corners, and it says the tin originally was 8 inches by 8 inches. And they want to know what the sides of the squares to be cut from the corners. So if this is X right here, right, this is also X because they're little squares. So they want to know too, we'll have the greatest possible volume, and what is the volume? Okay. To get the greatest possible volume, we have to find the volume, and the volume would be width times length times height. So that would be, if each one of these are x, that means each side became 8 minus 2x, didn't it? So I have 8 minus 2x for the width and 8 minus 2x for the height, or the, length, and then times the height, which will be the same height as your box cut out, so times x. So that's going to be our equation that we use. So that's equal to the volume. So volume equals x times 64 minus 32x plus 4x squared. And that multiplying and adding everything together, we get volume equals, this is volume, it looks like an R. Volume equals 64x minus 32x squared plus 4x cubed. So we take the derivative of that and we get 64 minus 64x plus 12x squared, and we set that equal to 0. Factor out a 4, you get 16 minus 16x plus 3x squared equals 0. So that becomes 3x minus 4 and x minus 4 equals 0. So x is equal to 4/3, or x is equal to 4. Now look, x is the height of, or the side of one of these squares. If I make the side 4 and the other one is 4, we have no box. So 4 is not a viable answer. It's too big. So x equals 4/3 would be our answer, and our volume is what they want. So the side of the box would be a side of square, if we're given the answer, is 4/3 inches. And the volume is 4/3 times 8 minus 8/3 quantity squared, which is 4/3 times 24/3 minus 8/3 squared, which is, let's see, 1027 over 27, which is 37, if you divide it out, 0.926 inches cubed. So the volume is equal to 37.926 inches cubed. So that was number 4. I'll do another video for the next ones.